All right, thank you. So Dr. Lloyd Lee said he was present, Denise Zuni absent, Jimmy Secretero absent, Lorenzo Jim absent, Marissa Naranjo.
I'm here. Thanks.
Thank you. Kyle Tapaha.
President, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thelma Antonio.
Present.
Thank you. Kim Gleason.
Present.
Thank you. And Kim Benali, who said she wasn't able to attend this evening as well. And I am present as well. We have 6 members present. We have established quorum and 4 members absent. Is that correct, Commissioner Antonio?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Dr. Lloyd Lee if he could provide us invocation and prayer to start us off this evening.
Okay, yes. So I speak a little Navajo and speak a little English with this. So Koroho Jon Dole Nahasa Shema Yahil Shita Hayil Kat Nahotil is Nahotoch at Hell Sisna Jini so till the goes laid Bennett Tis Nahotit Lay Chotle H1 Yoga Azah Shema Azana Hale Shema Nanda Aga Ashki Nanda Antos at a Eurot as a netly is at us a Totashin Topiage Taladin Ashki Anat Anat a Sa'an Ke Hojon. I pray for everyone here this evening. We have good thoughts, good feelings tonight. We pray for our relatives, our family, our friends, our loved ones, make them healthy, happy, strong, and safe. We pray for all human beings and all living entities, protect them, make them well. We also pray that we offer good thoughts and good solutions and good ideas and the challenges and the issues that we face as Indigenous peoples, as Native peoples that live in the city of Albuquerque and the state of New Mexico and in the United States. Hajon Anasleen, Hajon Anasleen, Hajon Anasleen, Hajon Anasleen.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, for providing our prayer and just words of encouragement, and thank you for that. The next item is the approval of this evening's agenda, and I'm just gonna share my screen here and pull that up. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, we can spend just a minute or two. Here is the agenda for today, Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. We have the approval of the December 29th, 2021 meeting minutes. Under new business, we do not have a guest presenter for this evening, so we will be taking that off the agenda. And is there any public comment, Terry, that you've
Madam Chair,
received?
I have not received any pub comments.
Okay, so we'll also be taking that off the agenda this evening. So item C will become item A. I did want to propose 2 agenda items for this evening. One is a carryover from December's meeting agenda, in which we were to discuss and vote on a subcommittee to develop a commission activities report to the mayor. We didn't get a chance to vote on it. We lost quorum at the tail end of the meeting. So I just carried that over from December to today's agenda. And then another agenda item to discuss meeting presenters list for 2022. I was just going back at some of the documents on our Google Drive folder, and just noticed that we've gone through our original presenters list, and it would be great to have an idea of possible community organizations or programs or individuals that we would like to invite to future commission meetings. And that really does help myself and Thelma to coordinate and send out invitations ahead of time. So I can pull that up as well to see if there is any other organizations or programs we didn't get to from last year. We can either roll them over, or we can, propose some new ideas. Item 5 includes updates by Dawn Begay and Terry Salone. I think Dawn is not feeling very well, so I don't believe she's going to be attending this evening. Terry, did you still want to be have time on the agenda for updates?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. 2 other edits that were needed for this evening's agenda was to indicate the appropriate commission members for the sectors. So we updated Dr. Lee's role to the education sector, and Commissioner Benally is now an at-large member. So this role here is actually vacant. So that was just missed in the agenda, the final version that went out. And then under 5C, just a request to set a follow-up meeting date, because we have 2 applications that still need to be a determination of their application needs to be sent to Helen Maestas. So I just was hoping to spend some time to set a date when we can complete that. And that subcommittee is myself, Dr. Lee, Kim Gleason, and Kyle Tapaha. So if we can just spend a little moment there to just set a date to determine those 2 applicants. And then we have adjournment. Are there any other requests for time on the agenda? Kim Gleason, I remember you saying you wanted some minutes on the agenda to provide an update or share some information.
Sure. Just to share some information about a possible subcommittee for developing a performing arts center in 2023. And I'd like to receive some feedback from the commissioners on how to proceed that with the city. Have a general idea, but it would be nice to have everyone on the same team on when it comes to that. Thank you.
Okay,
It won't
I've
take too
added,
long.
no, not a problem. If there's no other updates from the sectors, then we'll go ahead and we'll move to your update here on the agenda. So I've added that as well. I'm just going to highlight it for you, Thelma, just so when we submit the final version of this agenda, we can keep track of the edits. Any other items before we begin tonight? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve this evening's agenda with the appropriate additions and edits?
This is Marissa. I'll motion to approve.
This is Commissioner Gleason, and I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Naranjo and Commissioner Gleason. Can I get a vote from commission members? You can verbalize it or put it in the chat.
This is Commissioner Lee. I vote yes.
Thank you. Dr. Lee. Thank you, Kyle. Selma, can I get your vote?
Yes.
And that is the yes for me as well. We have a majority vote to pass the meeting agenda with the appropriate edits and additions. Thank you, everyone. The next item is the approval of the December 29th, 2021 meeting minutes. And that was sent out by email as well. Were there any other additions or edits to the December 29th meeting minutes? Does anybody need any more time to review them before we make a motion to approve? All right, can I get a motion to approve the December 29th, 2021 meeting minutes?
This is Dr. Lee. I motion to approve the meeting minutes from December 29th, 2021.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
This is Kyle. I second.
Thank you. Can I get a vote from the rest of the commission members?
This is Kim and Commissioner Gleason, and I vote yes.
I vote yes. This is Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kim.
Commissioner Antonio, I abstain. I was not at the meeting.
Okay. And Commissioner Naranjo. Can we have your vote, Marissa?
Yes.
Okay, I have 5 votes and 1 abstain, so we won't be able to approve the meeting minutes because we'll need a majority vote. So we'll pause this and we'll put it on the meeting minutes for February. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. Item number 4, new business, a discussion on approval of new action items. The first item being I vote on nominations for co-chair. So the last meeting, we made a motion to submit nominations for co-chair. That role has been vacant for a while, and everyone, we agreed that everyone would submit their nominations to Dawn. She would collect them and then present them here at this meeting, and we would take a vote to vote in the new co-chair. So Dawn is not able to present them, but Terry said that he would be able to present the information this evening. So once you're ready, Terry, you can let us know the nominations for co-chair, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The board co-chair nominations received by Dawn were for Dr. Lloyd Lee and Mr. Kyle Topau. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you. So those are the nominations for co-chair. And so what we'll do is take a vote, and you can you can vote for yourself, just like you can nominate for yourself. And if you want to verbalize your vote, you can. Everyone gets one vote, or you can type your vote in the chat for co-chair. So I'll give everyone a minute to send in their one vote. And we'll go with the majority vote at the end. And you can send your vote directly to me if you want to. Give me a minute while I tally up the vote. Wait, who am I missing here? Give me one moment. Oh, Kyle, I'm missing you. Here we go. And Marissa, can I get your vote? You just want to send it to me?
I'm sorry, Chairwoman. I had to jump off the call real quick.
Oh, that's okay. The nominations are Dr. Lee and Kyle for co-chair, and just send me your vote. Okay, thank you, Marissa. All right, so a majority vote of 5-1 is Kyle Tapaha for co-chair. So congratulations, Kyle. Thank you everyone for being part of the process and sending in your nominations. And we did it a little bit differently this year. Hopefully that was helpful, but thank you, Kyle, for and if you have any other, support or questions, please feel free to reach out to myself, Dalma, Terry, or Dawn.
Thank you, fellow commission members. Thank you very much.
Great. Now we'll move on to the next item, number 5, Commission Administrative, or no, sorry, item C. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up in my agenda here. I had my other agenda here on the screen. The next item under C, discuss and vote on subcommittee to develop a commission activities report to the mayor. So just a quick refresher, this was so that we could capture a way of documenting 2021 activities that the commission has accomplished or was involved in. And Dr. Lee gave a little bit of background of, an example of a previous kind of summary or report to the mayor that the original group of commissioners had done. And so this was just a way to capture the things that the commission has been able to accomplish, and I think some of our successes. And I think it would be a really good idea to be able to be more proactive in letting the mayor know, this is where we're at, and these are some of the things that we, were involved in, but also I think some of the insights that we have come to in being part of this commission. So on that, we needed to just make a vote to create that subcommittee and to start the work in building and contributing the information to a document like that. So we weren't able to vote on it last time. So I'm just gonna begin the motion again to create a subcommittee to submit or to develop and submit a report, commission activities report on behalf of the commission to the mayor. And I'm hoping, or if you have any other questions, please let me know. But can I get a second on that motion?
I second. This is Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. And can I get a vote from the rest of commission members? I think you can. Thank you, Marissa. Okay, and that's a yes from me as well. The motion is passed unanimously, and we'll begin to form that subcommittee with the commission members that were identified in the last meeting. So if there's anyone else that would like to join in that task, just feel free to reach out to me. But I'll send out a meeting for a time when we can get together pretty soon, because it would be my hope to submit that as soon as we can, just so that we can have that in the hands of the mayor, and he understands or has an understanding of kind of where we're at right now. But thank you for your support in that. And just a quick follow-up item, Dr. Lee, were you able to find that example of the report? And if you already sent it, would you be able to resend it again? Because I was trying to look for it and I might have missed it.
Yeah, I can resend it again.
Okay. I was having a hard time finding it by the date, so I'm not quite sure what happened. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next item for discussion is discussion on meeting presenters list for 2022. And I'm just gonna share the document real quick from our commission folder. And let me bring it up here real quick so you all can see what I'm looking at. So here's what our current commission all member documents folder looks like. And here is the original list of community presenters and invites that we had. And I've just highlighted the organizations and programs that have attended past commission meetings. So you can see about half, we were able to get through half of this list, which I feel like is pretty neat, considering you know, where we've been and how many meetings we've had. Some of these meetings with these certain groups or organizations you know, sometimes didn't happen either because of time or availability, or there was another pressing issue at the time where we, you know, filled in that time on our agenda for some of the more, you know, immediate issues that were happening. So I just wanted to get a sense if we wanted to keep reaching out to the groups or community organizations that we were not able to get to, and also get an idea if there was any other new groups or organizations that you would like to see that we would invite. And these presentations are usually 10 to 15 minutes long, so they're, you know, kind of quick and short and sweet presentations, information about what the organization does, but also in our invitations, we always include this is an opportunity to present any issues or priorities that the organization or program would like the commission and ultimately the mayor to know about. So this document is there, and I just want to open it up to hearing what some of your ideas are or suggestions might be. Go ahead, Kyle.
Working with AIO, I think a lot of those organizations on the list we do work closely with, so I can go ahead and start inviting them. Any additional organizations I think would be great to get to know is the Indian Health Service, the Health Board, Voters Alliance. Let's see, I think National Indian Youth Council was on that list. I'm working or trying to get in touch with the 8 Northern Pueblo Council. So maybe another call out to them. Pueblo Action Alliance, I've been talking with them, and SIPI. So a lot of the work that I'm doing is, you know, just partnering organizations together to share resources or to, you know, to identify duplication to where, you know, so we all can shine. I can put a list together and get somebody at least to start attending these meetings as well. So that's something I could work on.
Thanks, Kyle. Any other thoughts?
This is Kim. Do we have a new list ready to go, or are we just going to pull from what we have and then make a new list?
We don't have a new list right now, so
We're
we
just-
can.
Okay, we're just kind of figuring out which ones we've highlighted and who have came and who hasn't. Didn't
Right.
the American Indian Chamber present last year, or did they just work with us?
They did.
Strategic planning.
They did. They were involved in the strategic planning in 2020, and then we had them come and present. But I have to check the date if they were presenting at the end of 2020 or if it was in 2021. So I want to make sure. I can't quite remember. Any other ideas, suggestions?
One suggestion, and this is something that I just saw, I think maybe it was a month ago in the news. It was an interview with Mike Cantfield at the Indian Pueblo Culture Center and talking about their economic development within that area and what has been happening. And I think that might be good to kind of, I don't know, it would be him or someone else on their board to maybe kind of get an update in terms of you know, where they're going in terms of the vision they have, and how does this play out in terms of the Native community here in the city. Because, you know, I'm not quite sure. In the past, I believe there was a report a few years ago and they talked about what they were wanting to do. And most of it has, well, quite a bit of it has been done already, but I know that they're planning to do additional stuff. So it might be good to just kind of see where it's going and where it's at this point.
Are you talking about their business complex that's in development right now, right across the street from the
Right.
cultural center?
Right.
Okay. Okay, no, that's a good one. Any others? Any other groups? It doesn't necessarily have to be an organization or program. I know Lorenzo Jim wanted to see if he could invite Dr. Stone back just for an update with First Nations. So I have that on the list.
Do we want to invite people that are just strictly in New Mexico?
I think the original purpose was to become familiar with Native residents, organizations, and groups in Albuquerque, to see, you know, if there are any, you know, initiatives or goals or priorities that we're able to support within Albuquerque, since we're focused here. So that might be the place to start. Yes, Commissioner Naranjo.
I'd like to invite the folks from the Native American Budget and Policy Institute. They do a lot of conducting of research on budget and policy analysis, different types of social justice advocacy to the community, and just wanting to see what their priorities are as we head into the new year and where we might align.
Great, and that's out of UNM, right?
Yes.
Okay, and remind me who the director is again.
I think the director might be Regis Pecos.
Okay. Any others?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's actually Cheryl Fairbanks.
Fairbanks. Okay. Were you gonna say something, Dr. Lee?
No.
Okay. All right. Any others? Kim, Selma?
Not at this time, no. But if I think of something, I'll make sure to put it on the list.
I do have a suggestion. I was talking to Professor Hahola, and he gave me information about how different agencies or organizations were able to get a grant for digital information or collecting like from library or data, and then putting it into one place. I forget what the title was, but I think that might be informative.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Velma. Okay, that that really helps out to just build up that presenter list. And so we'll go ahead and try to indicate one for each month, and we'll just try to stick to that list as best we can. But of course, you know, if there's ever openings or more time for a presenter, please don't hesitate to just propose that and send that out to Thelma and I for time on the agenda for a presenter. We can always rearrange the agenda for more presenters to be part of the meeting or to come to the meeting. So thank you. That's all. It's all really helpful. Okay. Any other questions or comments before we move on regarding any of those items? Okay, we'll keep moving on to item 5, Commission Administrative Matters. Item A, City of Albuquerque updates with Terry Salone. So I'm gonna hand it over to you, Terry.
Good evening again, everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations, Kyle, on your nomination to the chair, co-chair. Just a quick couple of things as an update on the Albuquerque Union School of 4-H Park work we are doing. We have a tribal consultation coming up on January 28th, and it's from 1 to 4 p.m. We'll be sending out the invitation Zoom links and credentials to that probably next week, or else I could send them tomorrow just to get it out too also, but we'll be sending those out, so we keep an eye out for that. And then we have our next community strategy sessions for our groups that will be coming together to do some work to further the Albuquerque Union School 4-H Park issue for the city. And those will be on February 11th and 12th, which is a Friday and a Saturday, from 9 to 12, and then from 1 to 4 on both days. It's up in the air right now whether those will be in person, but tentative we had planned those to be in person. But with the new surge, some of the meetings now are being pushed back to virtual. But we'll keep everybody updated on that as to where that progresses. And if we do hold it in person, I believe we will be offering a stipend for your travel and other costs associated with that for those 2 days. And so that's coming up. But we're also looking probably more public meetings, because we held 4 community listening sessions last week. And one of the things that we've kept hearing was that, you know, we need to have another one that's like a town hall in-person meeting. So that's probably something we'll also continue to want to try to do again. Our first meeting on Tuesday was supposed to be a town hall type meeting, but unfortunately with the COVID, we decided to switch it to a virtual meeting because we had it set up and ready to go actually at Los Doranos Community Center. And so we had that all planned out, but as things progress, we'll figure out what we may do with that next, and we'll probably try to have another one there at the Los Doranos Community Center, because we're learning that more needs to be done. We're trying to up our media and information campaign to get more information out. We're finding out that a lot of the people that may have information or know people that may have attended the school are much older, and some of it may have been passed down to family members down the road, or not down the road, but family members after the fact. So this may be difficult to get individuals that know information to be more informed about these meetings. So we're working to change that and create some public service announcements that we may have on television, and then also more on radio. So we'll be looking to up that up. If you guys have any ideas or thoughts on any of this, please let us know. Contact any of us at the team. We currently have Rebecca and Thelma that are working closely with our public engagement team and also with our work groups. So they're also being apprised of everything that we are doing at this point. And that's just quickly that. I know there's other things that Dawn is working on, but we can probably have her talk about those at the next meeting, or send you guys updated emails to everybody else at this point. And I did call Helen Maestas and talked to her about, I know in the last meeting you guys had talked about wanting to put together some bylaws for the commission. And so she said she does have an example of bylaws that she can send to the commission to take a look at. And then you can go from there and develop bylaws from that. She also recommended that you create a subcommittee to work directly on the bylaws. That way they can work in a non-public forum and not have to have public meetings in order to discuss and do the work. And that way the subcommittee can then report back to the board in the open public meetings to talk about it and decide down the road. So she did recommend that. Also, she recommended too that the commission work closely with the assigned lawyer for the commission. I forget who that person's name was, and she'll get back with me to send me that information. So that'll be something too that's the subcommittee will need to do, is work closely with the city's attorney that is assigned to commission on developing bylaws. And I think that's it for now. We're getting ready to start moving forward on some other things, but it's already time's flying too fast. So hopefully we'll get caught up and get going again. All right, thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Terry?
Terry, this is Lloyd. The tribal consultation meeting next week, is that open for us to attend as well, or is that just tribal leaders?
No, it's open for the commission to attend.
Oh, okay.
In our last meeting, I believe Thelma and Rebecca were a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll send out the invites to everybody to make sure you're aware of it. Because we want as much input to it for the tribal side of what we're doing. And of course, the commission has been designated by ordinance to also work with the tribes as necessary. So I think it's also important that the commission be apprised of it as we're moving forward. And it seems to be coming along pretty well. We're finally getting some feedback and communication between the tribes. You know, just when's the next meeting, or can we have this, or maybe you guys should do this. And so it's finally beginning to see or appear that we're getting some more contributions and communication from the tribes. Well, we're continuing to keep that line of communication open. I mean, I try to apprise them of things as they move, as they change, you know, every other day if necessary, or at least on a weekly basis. So I keep that line of communication open between the tribes and the city and our work, but also we're continuing to work closely with the tribes and within the state also. So hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
And Terry, I'm hoping to attend this next tribal consultation meeting. I wasn't at the last one. I had a scheduling conflict, but yeah, I'm hoping to attend this one. The February, is it 11th and 12th community discussion meetings? Is that an open meeting, or is that still going to be by invite only?
That's going to be the invitation meeting, where we're going to have individuals that are really interested on working on a strategic, the plan, the process of everything addressing the 4-H park. So that's the one that we'll be sending individual invitations to them. I'm not sure if it'll be public, but I know we're wanting to do it in a more closed setting, because we're going to have people that are wanting to be continue to work on it on a long-term basis.
Do you have an idea of when those invitations will be going out?
I think we're in the process of finalizing the invitations content and the form. But we should probably be deciding that by Monday next week, is what I'm thinking.
Okay. And
But we have been talking about it, and we are wanting to get them out as soon as possible. I'm going to suggest probably tomorrow, if it's okay, to go ahead and start sending out those invitations. I think we need to get those out as soon as possible. I think on my end, from like the people I think I'd like to invite, I want to go ahead and try to go ahead and send out what I do have, because I think the draft we do have is pretty good, the one you and I kind of worked on. And I think Don and Drew were going to further tweak it some more. And then they were going to get back to me on that, and also the team. But I think with Don being out and under the weather, it was just kind of a little bit of a delay. So I may ask so that we can go ahead and move forward with at least sending out invitations to who we think individually we could invite to these meetings.
that would be good. I had some people kind of tentatively save those dates and timeframes, so that hopefully they can be able to be part of the group. But just a quick reminder, the community meetings for February 11th and 12th, that is the purpose of that is plan to put in place strategies going forward with all the information that has been gathered from AIS or the community discussions or the tribal consultation. So it's a really gathering and looking at all of the information to date, and then putting in some strategic plans going forward of, okay, how does the city and the community and everyone that's involved, what are some things that we want to definitely put in place to see to it that the ideas and the recommendations, including from this commission, and the discussions that happened even last year, are responded to and they're implemented. So up until now, all of the meetings and all the activities have been mostly just kind of getting a sense of like, where things are at, how people are feeling, what other information is out there, if there is any, but also looking at what are the things that we don't have, what are the things that we don't know about. And again, which is why we thought we would target, or at least personally invite, individuals that we feel like would be experts, or community members that we really want to have their voices heard in that discussion. So that's the reason why it's not like an open meeting. It's going to be by invitation only. So I think some of the individuals that we have on our list, like Ted Hahola and Joe Sabatani, and there were some other individuals that identified themselves as having knowledge around AIS that were that attended the past meetings this past week, that might be useful in that conversation. So if you have any individuals in mind, once that invitation is ready to go, I've asked the work group that this commission get a copy of that email invitation so that we can send it out to key individuals that we have in mind, so we can help with that, hopefully help with that process.
Yeah, it's going to be a large undertaking, because what we're looking at also is the whole extent of what we think the process is going to look like, including design, competitions, architects, planners, etc., construction companies. However it finally ends up, we don't know, because we're considering developing a memorial of some sort to build one. to house information that is done in a historically correct, has an education process or goal in it developed. We're looking at developing curriculums for educating, the public, APS, everything on the Indian school issue, how it came about, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be a large undertaking, and this is, just the beginning of all that. And so it'll entail a lot. So, we're looking for individuals that are, of course, interested in it, would like to help, and then would like to see it, done in the long term, not just a couple days or whatever, but we need help and input for the long haul down the road. So that would be great if you can, of course, this board is welcome to help and be a part of this process also. We welcome every and anybody to help us in any way possible. And that's it. Oh, and then to add, for the tribal consultation, we're going to have a GPR report review by Matt Schmader and Jenny Stern, who conducted the initial setup and then also conducted the survey itself. So they'll provide us a report that will be provided to the tribes on the results of that survey. So we'll be doing that. And then we'll be giving an update also on the recent community listening sessions. So it's a big undertaking because we're having now to think about and going back and review everything that we've done so far for these meetings in February. Actually, that way we can kind of hit the ground running with having a summarized reports and then looking at all the data and providing and compiling it into a form that's, manageable and readable by everybody, so they can just kind of hit the ground running when we get to it. So that's kind of what's next for us, is getting all that together and creating a timeline. And what we're wanting to make sure we do is document this process as well as possible, so that it's there as historical archive and so forth. So we'll also be looking at where should we set up, a place or an office that should retain and hold this information also for the, generations down the road. So we don't have what's happening now to us happen to those people, potentially in the future. So that way we have a historical document. We had considered also creating maybe even doing a documentary of some sort of this whole process. So that's something also we're looking at. We're looking at potential organizations that do prepare and create documentaries, and then also working with the city's Gov TV to see if that's something they also can support or help us with. So we'll be, creating this process. And again, any thoughts and ideas from the commission on how we can approach this are greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Any other questions, thoughts, or comments?
Terry, so I'm in touch with Tim Harjo. He's at KNMQ. He's doing a few things, trying to find interns to do learning of how to do film or TV to get into that industry. I think we could see what he could provide as well. He is looking for content, and I think this would be something that they could work on as well. I've ran into another individual does radio, so that she's looking for like podcast type of programming. So this could be one of those ways that we could engage with the community to see what they can do to help us out as well, documenting. And I really do like that idea of the library, so that this doesn't happen, at least get copies and archive history so that this doesn't happen. I do like that idea.
Right. And what I was thinking too is I have a little bit of a strategy behind that, is that if we designate through ordinance that the Office of Native American Affairs holds this information, then it has to be retained and be a part of city's government forever, as long as it's there. So that's kind of my way too, thinking we can get the Office of Native American Affairs to be a permanent part of the city's operations for the future is by creating a mechanism so where it's needed to do this, to do that. So that's a part of it, also a strategy that I'm thinking myself on how to keep the Office of Native American Affairs in operation. So, but yeah, I did talk with, and I know Tim, who he is, and I also did talk with Colleen Gorman. She was also talking about doing the podcast too. So, and that's part of our new strategy too that we're thinking about for public service announcements for this word. So, thank you.
Harry, could you make sure that the commission's initial recommendation on this topic be included in that discussion somehow, even if it's just a supporting document in that third community discussion, just so that that information isn't lost as well, because I think there are some key points that this group, had highlighted already, something, and it's the official document from this commission on that particular topic.
Yeah, we're going to make sure we have whatever input we have, especially from the commission, make sure that's part of this strategic planning group, make sure they have access and see it, because it is great guidance. So make sure because we're trying to look for any guidance we can have that is at this level, but also as in a public nature for us to support what the work we're going to do. Because, we're wanting to make sure we have, as much as possible, complete community support, from the Native, Indigenous, tribal communities, but also from the actual neighborhood that it's going to be built in. So we're going to be meeting and talking with the neighborhood, because there's also various neighborhood groups that we'll be talking to that also there exist. There's a North Valley group, I believe, and then there's a group that's in the area where the park is at. And then we'll be working closely with a counselor, Ike Benton, to make sure he's aware of what we're doing. I'm trying hard to keep him apprised of what we're doing. That way he and his constituents know what we're doing. So as long as we have great support and buy-in and community buy-in for this project, is what is really also what I'd like to see happen. That way, there's no questions down the road of what we do. But also thinking forward, I think if there's any ideas that, I always, as an accountant, I do risk assessments for our clients or any organization. So I think maybe that's something too that this commission can think about too, is what kind of risks do we have that we could be facing, with Native Americans and communities, blah, blah, blah. I'm always thinking of environmental issues also, social issues, economic issues, but also are those potential risks if what we do now is going to be a risk in say 50 years, 80 years, and is there something we're not seeing or not understanding that maybe we should think about in the future? So there's a lot of thought processes that come into this to make sure that we're trying to touch base with as much as possible. And then once we get the report from the Federal Boarding School Initiative, that's going to go to Secretary Holland, I'll make sure as soon as I get that, I'll send it to the commission to take a look at also, and then also provide it to our team as we go along. And we were hoping to have a meeting with Heidi Todichin and the group so she could get apprised of what we are doing, but so far we haven't been able to schedule that. So, but I'll make sure, and I know Don will too, so we're going to make sure that the commission's recommendations are also part of any strategic plan that is being done.
Thank you, Terry. Any other questions before we move on? All right, thank you, Terry. And if you could just let Dawn know, even if she just wanted to put her updates in an email, send it out to us, I think that'll suffice
Okay.
as well. So
Right, sounds good.
that'll be great. All right, the next item on our agenda is 5B, Commission Sector Reports and Updates. And this is just an open discussion, not necessarily in any order, but if any commission members would like to provide reports regarding their individual sectors or just updates in general. And I'll hand it over to Dr. Lee first, if you have any updates to share.
Well, there's one, but it's mostly tied to UNM and the Institute for American Indian Education. The Assistant Secretary of Indian Education, Lashana So, is trying to establish with the Institute for American Indian Education at UNM these module teachings, and it's still in the early stages. There's a meeting actually with Dr. Glenabel Martinez, Dr. Tiffany Lee, and others that are a part of this idea. These modules would be opportunities for school districts, locally chartered, state chartered schools, school boards that serve significant number of Native American students to provide these types of training material on cultural competency, cultural sensitivity, anti-racism, history of New Mexico tribes, nations and pueblos, and then the linguistic landscape. So she's wanting to establish this, and these types of modules begin to be delivered in this summer. So in May and June and July. So I just wanted to let you know that this is in the works. There's a meeting next week that I'll be attending with the others, as the two that I mentioned, and others. So I'll keep you updated on that. But that's going to be an opportunity for these types of trainings for school districts, charter schools, school boards that are serving Native American students, a significant number. I believe there are 23 school districts in New Mexico that have a significant number of Native American students, but I don't think it's going to stop there. I think it's going to try to be also distributed to all over the state, to all of the school districts. So that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Any questions for Dr. Lee? All right, we'll move on.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, Dr. Lee, is this something that also could be provided to like state or city government? I mean, one thing we're trying to do, or we're already working on it, is developing a training and learning process within the city to learn about, Native Americans, learn about, different cultures. In the Office of Equity and Inclusion, we actually have Giovanna, I can't think of her last name, but she's working to create a culture of change within the city. And I think one of the things we're working to do too is also provide training to city and the public about native issues, about working with tribes. I did several presentations on working with tribes, but also tribal sovereignty, etc. But my feeling is that I think something like this would be great, that we could see also being provided for the city, training and the culture of change that we're trying to do. But also, it'd really great to see it put out citywide, through the different areas of the city, for people to attend and be a part of. Because that kind of fits into one of my goals when I first started with the city, was to work to change the face of the Native American in the city, to educate people about that. And also that helps fight racism, education about groups. And, because a lot of racism comes about because there's not an understanding of those peoples that you're looking at. And so that's kind of contributes to racism. So I think as much as possible as we can to educate the community about Native issues, Indigenous issues, our cultures, our language, etc. I think the better understanding, the less racism we'll see within the city also. So I think that it sounds great, and I'd like to see it and be a part of how that comes about, or what those trainings look like, just to again present it to the city, because I think Mayor Keller is really interested in addressing those issues also within the city itself, because we're learning with our work, Don and I, that even though we live, and we're surrounded by Indians and tribes, that there's still a lot of unknowns about who those people are, who we are. And so I think this will just help fix that unknown and help educate people. So I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
I definitely think it would be, I can bring it up to Glenba and, or Dr. Martinez and Dr. Lee, but I'm sure they would be willing to talk to the city about this as well. Because I know in terms of these particular modules, they're going to be building them this semester, the spring semester, and then implementing them in the summer. And then the materials that they built are going to be utilized for other opportunities as well. So for sure, I can bring it up.
okay.
I think there would be a great deal of interest.
Great, sounds good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Dr. Lee, this also works into what Terry did mention, this is the reason why we joined this commission. For myself, it was to help APD. So I'm also an ambassador with APD on Native Americans. At one point, I wanted to incorporate a Native 101 into cadet training as well. We were trying to shape a really quick program just to show them, a lot of our officers with APD are not from the area, but we are seeing they're disconnected, especially when approaching Native Americans with some very specific issues that we have, especially dealing with power struggle or former bad engagement from law enforcement. Even though a lot of us have very positives, there's a lot of negatives. So maybe there's a way that we could work together to get some of this training to them as well. I work with Lieutenant Bartlett, and Lieutenant Bartlett and I, we're doing some of this work as well with the Native lens. So maybe we can present what we have and then see what UNM is offering. Maybe we can incorporate this into that program as well through the ambassador program.
Sure. Yeah, I think that might be something of an opportunity there as well. So I'll bring it up.
Thank you, Dr. Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Can I add something to that real quick?
Sure,
To
Derek.
Kyle and Dr. Lee. One thing that we were challenged with early on, and it's one thing that I've still been wanting to work on, and this was brought up by the city's Human Rights Board a couple years ago already. One thing and this was also talking with APD, they don't have really policies and procedures on how to work with and then deal with when a Native Indigenous person comes into issues, with law enforcement. How do we contact? Do we contact the tribe? Do we contact the other thing? How do we work with them? What is the cultural aspects of working with someone, from back east, or someone, in Arizona, or even here? What is the proper, cultural respectful way, to deal with a Native that's, runs into trouble with law enforcement here in Albuquerque? So that's something that I need to get back to, because that's something I was working to try to develop, wanting to work to develop with APD. And again, with the COVID, it just kind of got put back on the back burner. But I think now that we have Kyle, and then with what the work you're doing, you know, I really would like to get back to developing procedures and policies for the APD that can utilize, you know, when those situations do arise. So that's just throwing something out there also that, you know, that can be helped also with the city's work. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna move on to the next sector update, and that's coming from myself. Just want to, I'm sure everyone has seen the announcements that have gone out either through emails or maybe at social media, but just want to make sure that it's mentioned here as well. The launch for requesting free COVID-19 tests are now available. And if anyone needs a link to it's through the US Postal Service. So if anybody needs that link, I'll share that link out. But there's been many different ways of filling out the form, either through the form on the website or through, I did it through my mobile phone, and it was pretty easy. Just making sure that, you know, if there's any other interested individuals in Albuquerque or the surrounding communities, you know, just making sure that we're getting that information out to those that need it. And you get up to 4 free COVID tests, and they'll be sent to your place of residence. And I believe it's only 4 per resident. So if you have like 2 individuals using the same address, you'll probably only get 4 for that one request. So just you know, making sure that that information is being shared. And then another update I do have is regarding, let me pull up my email. It's a request for community members or professionals to join the House Bill, what is it? House Bill, oh, what's that bill number? 287, relating to public education, requiring the public education department to convene a task force to conduct an asset mapping or gap analysis of public school students' access to culturally appropriate social services throughout the state. And so there's a number of key individuals that they are looking for. And let me see if I can pull up the document. It's not letting me pull it up, but they're still looking for members. They've got about half of the task force filled up right now. But this ranges from members who have expertise in school health, social work expertise, community schools, experience in expertise in community schools, school nurses, New Mexico superintendents, let's see, someone providing social services in rural school districts and small school districts. And then they're needing a member from a tribal or congressionally chartered college that specializes in behavioral health needs of American Indian children. So I'll go ahead and share that information with you all after this meeting. So if you have any individuals in mind that might be able to fill those positions for this House Bill task force, that would be really helpful. And I'll be sure to make sure that also Commissioner Jim has this information, because he's quite connected to some of these similar professions. But they're also looking for families that caregivers who might be able to be part of the task force to represent families of New Mexico. So if you have any parent or caregiver advocates that have children in public schools, that might be of interest to them as well. So just wanted to share that with you all. Any questions regarding those 2 updates?
Rebecca, do you have the link to the COVID tests?
I do. I can send one to you. And I
Okay,
believe there's also a couple flyers out from some of the surrounding tribes that have had the link attached to their website. I was gonna ask Lorenzo if First Nations had any type of advertising around that link, but I didn't see any, but I can send you the link after this.
okay.
Rebecca, I was texting out the text for that. I just sent you the text. So if you have everybody's texts or cell phone numbers, you could text it to them.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, I'll do that after this. Okay, I got it. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention was not so much an update, but maybe a comment or request to the city. So this might be more relevant to you, Terry. But I'm seeing that a number of families are really having a hard time finding the higher quality of masks. And because everybody is either still going to school or some individuals are still working, they're really hard to come by. And I'm trying to find as many resources to have not the surgical mask or the cloth mask. They're the N95 or KN95 masks. Somehow get them available to families because they're also very expensive. So you can find, like 10 masks for like $30 online. And I was looking some even for my children as well. And I just couldn't imagine, a family trying to find, masks if they're needing to even visit like, relatives or caring for relatives that are of a vulnerable population, how they're able to access this and keep themselves safe. So if there's any resources or support that the city can provide in being able to, create either a listing or a way to provide these types of masks to families that need it most, that would be really great. Thank you, Kyle. See your comment. There's the link in the chat. Thanks. Any other questions for me or thoughts before I move on? Okay, I think we're on our last update, or if there's any other updates you would like to provide, Commissioner Antonio or Naranjo, but I'm going to hand it off to you first, Commissioner Gleason.
Thank you all. Yeah, so as most of you know, I work with Two Worlds, which is a nonprofit here in Albuquerque, specifically for Native American and Indigenous performing arts. We've been established since 2006 and became a nonprofit in the state of New Mexico in 2009. If you don't know us, we basically work to empower Native artists that are involved with acting, directing, playwriting, screenwriting, filmmaking, set design, and construction. So the big announcement basically is that Two Worlds is going to develop a documentary film this coming year on the organization's history and its journey to open up the first Native American Performing Arts Center in Albuquerque in 2023. We plan to showcase this documentary film at the sneak peek at the end of June 30th. And then we will go ahead and release it in November, which is celebration of our Native American Heritage Month here in the city of Albuquerque. We have a sponsorship in place right now with the city of Albuquerque. They are on team to get us going with this budget that is not too large, but it does go up to $15,800. So we are planning to include a lot of the artists and board of directors and writers who have started from the very beginning of the inception of the organization. And we are planning to start this filming process the beginning of February, and the ending date would happen sometime in June, obviously. And then right now, our producers are the main title of this is basically going to be called Two Worlds. And the directors includes myself, and in collaboration with the UNM Film Department Native American students. In particular, one student who is already on board, her name is Jordan Begay. And the producers of this documentary include Two Worlds, the Albuquerque Film Office, and North Fourth Theater here in Albuquerque. And the production company we have in mind, working closely with them over the years, who is already established as another local theater company, and they're called Quarantine Productions. Although we always try to see if we can hire Native American production companies first, but right now, with the budget we're going with, it's really a low budget film. So we don't want to we want to make sure that this is under or around 15,000 to produce. So the overall goal of this film is basically to help celebrate the history of Two Worlds and where we're about to go. As most of us know, we don't have a performing arts center specifically for Native American artists, and it's about time that we start thinking about those new moves, because we have opportunities to advance ourselves in the economy, and just being able to employ Native artists here in Albuquerque, Native designers, construction companies, administration, health and educators who would be interested in working in this facility itself. And then, so what I'm asking basically from the commissioners is basically, we have a subcommittee that's forming under our board of directors, but I figured that it would be wise to start a new subcommittee with the commission to really get things going on a political level, things that we need completely help, more of the help on when it comes to fundraising for a full Native American full performing arts center, which is about $10 million. Speaking with other theater organizations here in Albuquerque and other people that have been on the board of directors, they sort of amped it up to about $10 million to open up a performing arts space. So we're keeping in mind that this is pretty expensive to do, but it's not impossible to get the support of the city to open up this space, because it is needed. We are hoping to open up a performing arts space somewhere in Albuquerque that can be used for performances, education workshops, training classes, office space, rehearsal studio space, and technical assistance with artists who need assistance with, like, internet service, film equipment, software, and recording equipment. And so we are hoping to line up a couple key people that can be part of this documentary that's currently happening this year, which is, we're hoping to ask Mayor Tim Keller if he would be able to give a couple or an interview on camera on behalf of Two Worlds, just to support this initiative, as well as anyone that would like to join the subcommittee, or if I can have the permission of everyone here to start a subcommittee, that would be the first steps in moving toward 2023, which is the ultimate goal. And then anyone that would be interested in giving us, I believe Terry mentioned it earlier, just talking about things that are really need to be integrated when starting any type of new foundation or business, which is basically talking about the risks that are involved, risk issues, talking about tribal sovereignty, like we mentioned, and having everything built through an Indigenous lens. So we're asking for anyone's help to be part of this. And if it's possible to start a subcommittee, then that would probably be the first steps. And I would love to lead that and gather more people who would be interested in finding ways to get to the 10 million goal that we have in mind. And I believe that's pretty much what I'd like to give everyone. The only other things that are coming out this coming year is that we are doing an official release with the Albuquerque Film Office at the end of the month to let our community know this is actually happening. We are actually advocating for our own performing arts space and for the community. And this would include theater, this would include music, this would include dance, and a space for filmmaking. So with that in mind, I'll just go ahead and take some questions now, and I'll jot down if we can maybe start a subcommittee and talk about it more. Thank you for your time.
Sorry, everyone. I think I disconnected for a little bit, or maybe we all did. I don't know where I went. Everyone disappeared. But I did catch the tail end of that, Kim, and I think that's just really incredible, and it's exciting, and sounds like this is something that's, very dear and important to the community, because like you said, it's something that's been needing to happen for a long time now. And, like you said, there's no reason why this isn't a possibility that can't be fulfilled. So that's really great to hear, the visions going forward. Does anybody have any questions for Kim? Go ahead, Kyle.
Commissioner Wilson, so it's not more of like questions, but it's just finding out like what the community said so far as needing the performance art center. So I know there's a lot of interest in film and TV. So where would this fit in? I think would be my question.
In terms of film versus performing arts?
Performing arts, yes.
Yes, it's a performing arts facility that would be specifically for theater and dance and musical performances. And what I like for what my dream is basically to have Native-led organizations be a part of this. There's already a couple Native American musical organizations that exist. I'm not sure about dance, but I know we're in the position to gain more advocating for more artists out there that want to start their own organizations. But this has been a long time running, and most of the things that I have said today are on behalf of our artists who would love to have their own space, a place to lay down, their roots. And just in general, every time we perform at a non-Native led organization, and or a theater community that's not really based as a Native perspective. So a lot of the performances we're trying to integrate as a immersive, I guess just an experience where it's everything's given through an indigenous lens, so that those performances might be held outside or inside. We've tried in the past to work with other communities like the Indian American, what do you call it? The American, can't think of them. They're right down the road on 12th Street. the name, the Indian, the Pueblo,
The Indian Pueblo Cultural Center?
yes, there's so many, they're acronyms, I can't even think of them anymore. But anyways, yeah, we tried to work with them in the past, but they are very strict with the performances that they have there, and they specifically focus on Pueblo specific storytelling. So a lot of the artists that we work with come from Diné, other tribal nations. And so we've been trying to figure out a way to advocate for our own space for a very, very long time, where you wouldn't have to keep traveling with all of our costumes, with all of our set piece, that we can have a stage and a background to put all of our things in and to just call home.
Thank you. Yeah, I do notice that a lot of not to say outsiders, but you know, there is a need for a space for us here in Albuquerque. So yeah, I do see what you're saying.
And then I think you know, starting a subcommittee here in this circle would help me get to the right people that I need to ask the important questions with, specifically with, you know, Terry, and just seeing if Mayor Tim Keller would be able to actually be on camera for this, if it's something that we should ask, or if someone here would be able to have a few words on why this is so important to have represented here. Because as far as I know, we're the only performing arts organization that represents the Southwest. So we have Los Angeles, we have New York, we have Minneapolis, we have Oregon, but we don't have anywhere else in between. So that's why we hold such a special and important place when it comes to performing arts.
Any other questions?
Kim, I have a question. Again, I think this is a wonderful idea for the city. I've been a lifelong resident of Albuquerque, and we've never had anything of that sort, you know, to see Native performances. That's always been like at a dirt place at the fair, or else, you know, at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center, or, you know, other places like that. And I think it's something that really is needed, especially if we're looking to really develop arts, performing arts, and even film here in New Mexico. I think one thing, you know, I'm on the board, I'm the secretary for Silver Bullet Productions, and most of our, you know, Native film and performances that we do are held at the Lensic in Santa Fe. And I think if there was a place like that here in Albuquerque, we could move to have some of our, you know, events held here in Albuquerque too. And I know we would support it, our board would support it, and our organization would support it. And I think what would help for the mayor is to get together a proposal of some sort. If you already have one or don't, or would create one, is put together a proposal that has everything you just talked about as high points in it. Even if it's a PDF or a PowerPoint, or even, you know, getting a chance to talk with the mayor about it, I think he would support it, to tell you the truth. And then there's a lot that could come into play. You know, if we begin to talk with APS to see what properties they have, what kind of land is available that could be utilized or sold, or the city could buy land at some point to build a facility. There's a lot of money out there, even from the federal government right now, for infrastructure development. I think this would fit to some degree of infrastructure development on a cultural basis for Native Indigenous peoples. I think I'll bet Deborah Holland would support it wholeheartedly. She could help you find money. Secretary Trujillo would probably support it also. And I'll bet Governor Lujan Grisham would support it. And so those are, you know, next steps, of course, you know, for finding funding to get something like this built. And again, you know, if you get to put together some sort of a presentation or proposal about it, I think that would really help the mayor get an idea of what it would look like. And that way, you know, if he decides he would support it, then I think he would go on camera and show his support for it. and other members too, just knowing the work I've done with other people. I know Martin Heinrich might support it. You know, he's always been working hard for the indigenous communities here in New Mexico and then also through the country. I know Melanie Stansberry might support it. And I know Teresa Ledger Fernandez would probably support it because she's currently working to support a lot of Native Indigenous issues and legislation in the federal government. I just recently saw her and talked with her at the tribal broadband consultation that was held out at Santa Ana Pueblo. And so she was there in support of the broadband for tribes in the state. And that was presented by a good friend of mine, Manny Barudin, who put that together. So I think there's a lot out there. There's probably gonna be a lot of interest. But again, I think as you develop and create a great work plan or a strategy and what this looks like, that's gonna really help move this forward quickly. So just some thoughts.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone else?
Thank you very much. It's very helpful. We do have official documents in place, but we don't actually have a full lineup of strategic planning from this month all the way to 2023. But that I feel that this is the reason why we need to start a subcommittee, because I'm not the only voice. There's like thousands behind me who are advocating for this space as well. So I'm not sure if this is the right time to start that subcommittee or how we will go forward with those procedures, but I'm ready to start leading this and maybe have this as an official committee in the future, since it's so important.
Any questions regarding Commissioner Gleason's request to seek approval for a subcommittee? And could you clarify again or provide a little bit of what your idea was regarding the purpose of the subcommittee, just in case somebody missed it?
So the subcommittee would be to help develop a Native American performing arts space in 2023. And specifically helping with the strategic planning that Terry had mentioned, as well as moving us forward with meeting with legislators and people who would be key players in getting us to that goal of 10 million.
Thank you. Any questions? So are you seeking a motion now to approve that?
Yes.
Okay. Got you. I'll motion to create for us. I'll motion to for a subcommittee to be created in regards to the purpose that Commissioner Gleason explained to us, and I think it's really great. It could be the start of something really good and important. And however long that subcommittee needs to be in place for, at least it would be there to be used, and it would be established. So do I have a second?
This is Commissioner Antonio. I second the motion.
Commissioner Antonio seconds. Can I get a vote from the rest of the commission members, either verbally or in the chat? All right.
I vote yes.
I have a vote of yes from Commissioner Gleason, Commissioner Tapaha.
I vote yes.
Yes from Dr. Lee. Yes. Commissioner Antonio. Marissa, can I hear a vote? Thank you, Marissa. She put in the chat, yes. So the vote to establish a subcommittee is established. So congratulations, Commissioner Gleason. And just what we'll do is we'll make sure to add that to the documents of subcommittees that we have in the commission Google Docs folder. And if there's any other updates that you would like to be included on the agenda, just let us know.
Thank you, everyone. You will not be disappointed.
Great. Any other comments? Thoughts before we move on? All right. Item 5C on the agenda, commission member recruitment application updates. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, there's two applications that have yet to be reviewed and decided upon. And I just wanted to take some time right now, if we can establish a follow-up date to submit our recommendations. That would be myself, Commissioner Gleason, Commissioner Lee, and Commissioner Tapaha. So I was wondering if you could just take a quick look at your calendars, and if there's maybe we could aim for a time next week. I will send you the applications in the meantime, and whatever date we decide on, we'll be ready to discuss and write up our recommendation and send it. Does that sound okay? Okay.
Yes.
And my schedule is pretty flexible, so if anybody has the more, schedule that has a lot of stuff on it, maybe go first. A lot of appointments, important appointments you have. Go ahead and go first.
This is Kyle. I would really like either Thursday or Friday evening. Those are really the only times I have now that I'm taking a little bit more responsibility in the commission.
So you're thinking of January 27th or 28th?
If that's okay, yes.
Okay, so that's on the table right now. Dr. Lee.
What time in the evening on those days?
Excuse me, I'm free after 3 Thursday and Friday, the 27th, 28th.
Okay. Yeah, Thursday I'm free from 3 to 6, and then Friday I'm free in the evening.
Okay.
Yeah, what does it look like?
I let them go first because they have the heavier schedules.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, Thursday I'm available after 4, and then Friday I'm available more in the morning.
Would Thursday at 4:30 work for everyone? And I don't think it would be more than 30 minutes because it's only 2 applications. So
yeah, Thursday at 4:30 works.
Oh, okay. So I'll go ahead and send out a Zoom link for January 27th at 4:30. All right, thank you. We got a appointment down. And like I said, after this meeting, I'll forward you all the application documents, and it should include the form that they filled out online and also their resume. All right, any other questions regarding that agenda item?
I apologize, not a question on the agenda item, but I did want to announce a little project that I'm doing. if it's okay with the commission.
Sure, we have, let's see, where are we at? We're coming up to 7 o'clock, and I see your comment, Commission Naranjo. Yes, we have time if you want to provide an update as well.
Yeah, it's really quick. So I'm working on community building here at Americans for Indian Opportunity. I've been talking with a lot of Native organizations, and really it's just a collection of what organizations' goals, targets for the first quarter, basically, and it kind of would help guide the community. So I'm starting to do this, and I would like to make it available to the commission as well, just so that we are all aligned. It's whatever organization's willing to share with the public, and then we use this as a way of either identifying that we're doing the same thing and that we need to reorient, or there's a need in the community. So I'm kind of using this as a multifaceted tool. So I was just going to say that I'll be reaching out to a lot of Native organizations here in Albuquerque and in Bernalillo County as well, just to get us what our events, objectives, commitments, resources, and our risks are, because that's kind of what I'm going to be looking at as far as a commission. Well, a lot of the work that I'm doing has to do with the homelessness issue, and I'm going to be bringing in other outside councils just to give me a better sense of what the nation is doing, and then quickly make it through an indigenous lens, through how to apply it here in Albuquerque too. I've already started talking with the Gateway Center. I'm going to be approaching a lot of our shelters and doing what I originally intended to do, was the street outreach, actually talking with our relatives to see what basically we can do now that I have a little bit more, I say, more power and more direction, a little bit more authority. I can then bring in all these other organizations to say, okay, this is what they need. What can we do from a family perspective, from a really an indigenous connection, basically. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm calling it an alignment, but that title is kind of flexible, and it's just so that we all see what we're doing, and kind of address or highlight our best attributes, and then kind of push people into leadership, Native leadership from UNM, from CNM, bringing other people in. So that's kind of what I would like to do, and it's just kind of like an announcement. It's not fully fleshed. Still got to work on the strategic part. Terry did send me some good information, and I'll be using that to make an ask of the commission, and then to allow us to turn it around to ask the community what we should be working on. So it's kind of what I'll be working on as a co-chair. So that was my little announcement.
Great, thank you, Kyle. This reminds me, I need to link you with the 8 Northern program, Circle of Life. I guess pre-COVID, they would have individuals in their program that were advocates that they would send to Albuquerque with prepaid phones to try to hand them out to the population that was experiencing homelessness, to help them have a way to call for program services. And so I don't know if that funding is still in place, or if they're still continuing that type of outreach and approach. But the lady was trying to connect with somebody in the city that was more like boots on the ground, who's making those types of efforts with individuals in the community that are experiencing homelessness. But I thought that was like a great idea. They would just be having backpacks with prepaid phones and be handing them out, because one of the barriers to access was just trying to get the phone calls connected with the services, or having a smartphone to fill out a form, or whatnot. So let me give you their contact information, because what you said just kind of reminded me of that. Any
Thank
other
you, Madam Chair.
questions for Kyle? All right, we're gonna move on to Commissioner Naranjo, and I apologize. I overlooked checking in with you as well. So sorry about that. I will hand it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my notes up here real quick. They just disappeared. Okay. I'll hand it over to you, Commissioner Naranjo.
Thank you, Chairwoman. No worries. So I just wanted to update the Commission on an effort that I've been part of with High Watermark through the Indian Affairs Department on the New Mexico 50-year water plan. So the New Mexico State Stream Commission, along with the Office of the State Engineer, are leading an effort to develop the state's 50-year water plan. And the water plan really is to just provide an assessment of the challenges related to the state's drought, climate change, growing population, gaps between supply and demand, inadequate infrastructure, and some of the interstate litigation that's going on. Right now, it's really aiming to bring New Mexican stakeholders, including tribes and pueblos, together to the table and ensure inclusive planning with regard to the state's water resources. And they're looking at completing this plan by spring 2022. So just a quick timeline. There are right now 4 different phases actually. Phase 1 scoping was conducted and ended in February of last year. Phase 2, they're calling the Leap Ahead analysis, and that's ongoing right now with selected New Mexico water and climate experts to really look at 50 years into the future, 2070, and describe how the state's water resources may have changed or will change in various sectors of the state and the state as a whole. That information is going to be used to identify areas of current and future resilience and problem areas throughout the state and for specific communities. And then that's going to be helping to develop some strategies and solutions for water resource questions, for problems, issues, supply gaps. And then the phase 3 will go ahead and focus on outreach assessment and strategies. And that'll be ongoing from July 1st to January. Well, that was going on from July 1st to January of this month. Phase 4 will include a review period, and that'll be concluding on April 30th. Lori Wayaki has been contracted through the New Mexico Indian Affairs Department to facilitate a tribal task force that has been meeting regularly each month to solicit and provide comments on the past 50-year water plan, as well as craft new comments based on traditional ecological knowledge, technical expertise from the tribes and pueblos, water resource experts and natural resources departments. They've also held a New Mexico water tribal forum, a tribal water forum that took place in November. And so I just wanted to update the commission with this information to let you know that this effort is underway, that the task force is continuing to develop those comments, and we'll be looking to tribal organizations and tribes to help support those comments as they're added into the 50-year water plan. And so I just wanted to also ask what the process for the commission in requesting a resolution, a letter of support, or just asking that the commission's name be added to that report as the list of supporters for that tribal task force inputting comments.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Naranjo. Is there any questions for Marissa?
Commissioner Rano, have you, okay, so the Native Leadership Collective has offered the support as well. I think I'll go ahead and connect you with that little organization as well. We had supported the nomination of Jenna Pfeiffer to the Environmental Planning Committee with the city. So I think that's another resource that we could use, just getting you guys connected and showing the city that, there was no need to have discredited her knowledge, and then bringing you on board too, to really solidify that we are a really good resource for the city to make those kind of decisions, and to make those support letters possible too. So I think it's a good idea if I connect you.
Thank you so much, Chair Tapaha. I would be really happy to be connected with Jana Pfeiffer. And also I just wanted to let you all know that as soon as we finalize the draft of the tribal comments for the 50-year water plan, I'll go ahead and forward to the commission if anybody wants to take a look just to review prior to getting that formal letter of support or resolution or whatever we're kind of needing to show support for that tribal task force.
Marissa, I
That
have
would
a
be really
question.
great. Oh, go ahead, Terry.
Outside of this work, I've been involved a lot of environmental and water protection over the years with Southwest Native cultures, and I'm really glad to see this really moving forward as strong as it is now. I would fully support it. Now, would your group be interested in also having the support of like the Greater Chaco Coalition and the environmental groups here in New Mexico, like Sierra Club, 350.org, Indivisible, Nob Hill, San Juan Citizens Alliance, Wild Earth Guardians on this particular bill issue you're working on? Because I could get you connected with all those groups in our coalition, and also with my Indigenous Native networks that's national that could support it. So if you have any type, again, any report or any type of proposal about what its overall is about, what it's going to look like, I would, you can send that to me and I can forward it to these groups to take a look at. And I think it is something we need. I don't know if Phoebe told you, I sat on a panel with her at the Council of State Governments back in December, and we talked about water issues, the drought, and working with tribal governments. So that was a lot of fun working with Phoebe. So it's again, however I can help, just let me know. I'll be glad to push this forward, and I'd love to support it myself through my organization. And also I think the city would support it too. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Terry. I really appreciate that. I think that'd be really great to have the support of some broader environmental and conservation organizations too, just, voicing support for that Indigenous leadership and voice on New Mexico's water resources. So sure, as soon as we have the comments, I'll go ahead and forward to the group. And when we actually get into that stage of requesting formal support and doing that advocacy, I'll let you know so we can get everything connected.
Sounds good.
Great,
Thanks.
Marissa. Yes, thank you. I think that's something that I would want to support as well. And like you said, whenever you get that document ready, just feel free to forward it right away to the commission. And then if you have an idea of when you would need supporting documents submitted back to you by, that would really help, so that if we need to make a motion on anything, we can put that with enough time to do so on the agenda. So if there's something that needs to happen within a couple months, let's try to just put it on the agenda. And even if we need to adjust that or move that, we can, but at least it's the items there, and it's easier for us to kind of roll over an item if we need to. So just let us know what you need.
Okay, great. Right now it's just a heads up, but yeah, I'm glad we're gonna get started early on this. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other thoughts, updates before we close this evening? All right, we are at adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Tapaha. Do I have a second?
This is Commissioner Gleason, my second.
Thank you, Commissioner Gleason. And can I get a vote from the rest of the commission members on this evening?
Yes.
I have a yes from Dr. Lee, a yes from Marissa Naranjo. A yes from Thelma Antonio. That's a yes from Kyle Tapaha. And I didn't catch yours, Commissioner Gleason.
I vote yes.
Thank you. And that's a yes for me. That is 6 yeses. So the motion passes to adjourn this evening. It is 7:15 p.m. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time and energy this evening and getting on and getting through the agenda. And, just thank you for all the updates and information as well. It's really useful. And just really appreciate your continued participation and commitment to this commission, and wish you all continued safety and wellness to you and your families and communities wherever you are. And an agenda will be going out next week because our scheduled meeting for February is just around the corner. So it's going to seem like it's going to come quick. So you should see that email from me. And we'll go ahead and update your role as well on that, Kyle. And again, congratulations and thank you, everyone.
Good job, everyone. Have a good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good
I'll take
night.